Make work obsolete. This is something that society has tried to achieve ever since the Industrial Revolution. It's the ideal that we can go about our days without being stuck in a 9-to-5 job. This is a masterclass for AI in marketing, and I'm curious to hear what type of marketing you are doing. So, what type of marketing do you do?
For job,
Okay, but what is it that you do for a living?
I work for government,
Mhm.
and we give subsidies to people that buy electrical car or something like this.
Mhm.
So we do marketing, but
Okay.
it's on Instagram and LinkedIn.
So social media.
Yeah.
I see. And what do you do in your free time?
I like learning new stuff like languages and technology, like editing videos or something like this. No, and I like doing sports. A lot.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And what is it that you do in marketing?
I don't do marketing.
Oh, okay.
But I came here to learn about it because I am creating a startup right now.
I see.
And as I've heard from everybody, marketing is everything. So anything I can learn, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, this is true. And what do you do in your free time? What do you enjoy doing?
Everything.
Everything.
I do a bit of everything.
What's the, let's say, best thing that you like to do?
Recently, I've been doing a lot of mural painting.
Mural painting.
Interesting.
So how would the world look like if we could do more mural paintings, or if we could do more sports and learn new things?
Well, some of you might be a little more covered in paint than others.
Probably. During the Industrial Revolution, we saw that it's possible to replace our work by the work of machines. But it wasn't always that straightforward. Machines assisted us, but they never replaced us completely. We've built robots, cars, computers, airplanes, but we still have to work to supervise them. But today, for the first time, making work redundant completely is within reach. This is thanks to breakthroughs in generative AI and technologies that get closer to human intelligence day by day. And the question is, how will this transition look like from us still supervising machines and working with them to a future that requires no work at all? Most probably, it won't be easy. Probably the transition will include systems that will assist us more and more in the work that we do, that accelerate us a lot during this period. And this is what we are here to discuss today. We will see how to navigate the waters towards a future where work will no longer be needed. Let's meet Elena. She is a content marketing specialist and she works for a mid-sized e-commerce company. In her daily work, she creates blog posts, social media campaigns, and email newsletters. And because her team is small, she often finds herself juggling content creation, editing, and SEO optimization. How many of you had this problem before where they needed to juggle different priorities? Raise your hand. All right, quite a few. Also, a lot of Elena's work is very time-consuming. So she has to draft multiple variations of ad copy or email subject lines. She has to ensure consistent brand tone across different content formats. And on top of this, she has to keep up with new marketing trends, new tools, both old and new, and the whole generative AI wave that has hit us in the last 2 years. And again, who here has experienced this constant flood of new information that we've been bombarded with during the last 2 years? Raise your hands. All right. So I'm not the only one, apparently. But after all, Elena's focus is to deliver impactful content faster, improve her team's efficiency, and stay competitive using the newest digital tools, right? Now imagine how could Elena's day would look like if instead she could save hours by instantly generating first drafts for blogs, newsletters, and emails. How would it be if she could use keyword-focused tools to generate optimized content, ideas, outlines immediately? And how would it be if she could create multiple variations of social media posts in one go from a single prompt? Then probably Elena could do more mural paintings, or she could do more sports, or whatever else she enjoys, and just let the work be done by the machines. Hello and welcome to this talk. My name is Robert. I'm the founder of Next Operations. And today we will talk about useful generative AI tools that I hope will save you some headaches and pave the way to a future without the need to work. These tools have saved people like Elena 80 hours of work per month. And if your day looks anything like hers, you're in the right spot. We will start with having a look at the tools that are relevant now and will be relevant throughout 2025, as well as some repetitive tasks that can be solved with generative AI in marketing. Then we will have a look at how the systems between tools like ChatGPT actually work inside, which informs us on how to write better prompts so that the AI gives us responses that are useful to us. And then we will look at a few practical integrations and tools that save us real hours per day so that we can focus on the important parts of the business. And at the end, we will have a Q&A session where you can ask everything that you always wanted to know about generative AI, and I'm happy to answer them. This is an interactive session, so if at any time there is anything unclear or you would like to know something more, feel free to ask me. It's still early in 2025, but these are the tools and the basic models that will be relevant this year, especially for writing and marketing and content generation. We have ChatGPT, we have Claude, and we have Perplexity for research, also Copilot. And then for images, we have tools like For images, we have tools like 11 Labs, Midjourney, that is very popular, and Photoshop with the AI extension, with the AI extension, just to name a few. And if we look at the most common problems that can be tackled by AI, we see that, again, a lot has to do with text, right? We have emails, we have social media, we have content. We will have a look at how to automate these today. How do you guys find prompting so far? How has your experience been with getting the right outputs from generative AI? How many of you had the feeling that, okay, it just doesn't produces the right answer that I wanted? Raise your hand. Okay, what was something that you would want it to be, a bit better with these systems?
Writing content. So like on the side I manage an Etsy store. So like if I'm like writing content for like a specific product, like having like really good content for that product.
I see.
Yeah.
And what has the trouble been around prompting in this sense?
Maybe I don't describe the product correctly, or like maybe like my structure isn't correct, and like I don't get like the output that I need for like a specific product. Like say like I sell like a neon light, for example, and then like it'll give me like a good overview, but like not as specific with like keywords, things like that. That like it would be great for it to have.
That makes total sense. Let's assume, for this example, that our marketer we had earlier, Elena, she has a new client in her agency, and this is an architecture studio. And the studio is launching a new service for building facades. And they need Elena's help. So Elena might write a prompt around these lines. You're a copywriter specialized in architecture, especially on building facades. Write an Instagram ad that's 150 characters long, and the ad will begin in the 2024 autumn season. So Elena has not yet grasped how AI can help in 2025. So she's still a bit hung up on the autumn 2024 season, but also maybe because trends take a bit longer to change in architecture. So if this prompt worked in 2024, probably it will work in 2025 too. But coming back to the point, if we type this into ChatGPT, what happens under the hood? ChatGPT will output in the 2024 autumn season, and then let's freeze the system at this step. Maybe you saw that ChatGPT outputs each word one at a time. It doesn't output the full text at once. It outputs it one at a time. And if you think back to the beginnings of 2023 when it was first released, sometimes it would even hang and it would be very, very slow. But nowadays, with the newest models, it's super quick. But still, it produces one word at a time, right? So what happens there? At any given moment, when it produces a new word, it has to think which word will it produce, right? This is the idea here. And once it has found the word, it will output it and then think about the next and the next. The way this works internally is that every word in the language you're writing in this case English, has a certain probability to be chosen as the next word, all right? So here, if ChatGPT, let's assume, has output in the 2024 autumn season, these are the top 5 words from the English language by probability that it can choose. In other words, if we look at all the probability assignments for the whole English language, these would be the top 5, all right? So redefine has probability 98.7% and create 95.2 and so on. And then it will choose redefine because it's at the top of the probability hierarchy, all right? So then it will output redefine here and then repeat the whole process all over. Then again, it will assign probabilities to all words in the English language and take the one with the highest probability. But it does this very quickly because there's huge computation power behind it. And the point here is that the probabilities of these words are defined by everything that comes before it, all right, and nothing else. Of course, the systems were trained beforehand on lots amounts of data. We won't go into this detail because we cannot change that. Those systems are already trained. But what we can change is what comes before the current word, which is our prompt, plus what ChatGPT outputs. The idea here is that everything that you see in that chat counts as so-called context, all right? The thing is, when we chat with ChatGPT, it's not a real chat. It's basically just one long piece of text that ChatGPT looks at it at once and adds new words to it, and then again looks at the whole text, right?
Can I ask you a question about that? Is this also the reason why, for instance, let's say you're writing a cover letter, you've written your cover letter, you kind of want ChatGPT to maybe summarize or rewrite parts of it, that you actually find sometimes more repetition of the same words in ChatGPT's text? Like that you wonder, okay, my text, like I was really trying to be specific to not repeat certain words, and then you get a rewritten text and you see repetition. Is it because it uses the probability and therefore might choose similar words more often than we as humans would if we think about how we write?
Very good point. Very good point. And you've touched here a bit on hallucinations as well. So because ChatGPT feeds itself with the words it produces, at some point, it's possible that some weird things happen, like, for example, the repetition of these words. Also, on a macro level, it might output something that makes no sense, right? This is the biggest problem with these systems at the moment, that they don't think like humans. They're a bit, let's say, like a parrot that reproduces what it has been trained on, right? Obviously, the latest tech advancements and engineers, they work on this all the time. But yes, this is one of the reasons. And we will see in a prompting technique in a bit that it matters in which order you write your prompts, where you put your data, your instructions, your examples, and so on. One important thing here to note is that this type of AI is called generative because it generates, it creates text, it outputs words, as opposed to older types of AI that did inference, which means you gave it a text and it said yes or no. For example, I don't know, is this text positive or negative? And it said yes or no. It wouldn't produce anything. This is the reason why it's called generative. If we have now a quick look at this image, can anyone guess what this contraption is? No clue? All right, I'm going to save you the guesswork. So this is a dot matrix printer at the top. It's one of those old printers that have an endless paper roll inside them, and they print on this endless paper roll, usually invoices in warehouses and those kinds of scenarios. They're printers that basically are designed to print forever. And this is an endless paper roll. So if we imagine the dot matrix printer to be the LLM, the large language model like ChatGPT, and this paper roll to be the context, what I'm trying to show with this image is that not only the printer writes on the paper, also different entities write on the paper as it's being produced, all right? For example, here we have different people writing on it, and we have a robotic arm. So the robotic arm here is, let's say, an API access to a different system. For example, a CRM system, right? And the people might be documents that you attach to ChatGPT. The point here being that all of these external data sources, they all get written onto the context, right? So the real context that ChatGPT works with, you cannot see completely because it's behind the scenes. So when you attach a document to ChatGPT, it will tell you, okay, this was attached and I'm searching in it, but what happens in reality is that pieces of that context get copied directly into the context, into the background. It's as if you had written them by hand. But it does this very user-friendly so that we don't have to do this. And it happens behind the scenes, all right? Now, why is this important? Because this this highlights that if we create integrations in a smart way, we can benefit from them enormously. So it's all about how do we fill this context. This is what we are going to talk about. All right, any questions so far? No questions? All right. Now, let's have a look at some useful tools that our marketer Elena can use. And we will have a look at 4 broad categories. Let's say Elena wants to write content that is personalized, whether in email campaigns, whether in social media outreach like LinkedIn, and she wants to do this at scale. All right? She wants to write a personalized message for every person she sends it to. Also, Elena gets the chance to create blogs at the click of a button based on keywords that are relevant for her clients' businesses. Then we will see how she can create ads for social media and Google that are derived from the client's reviews of her customers. Imagine an e-commerce store that has hundreds of reviews, and they want to target the same type of people that have already enjoyed their services. And they know this because they have the feedback from the reviews. And ultimately, we will see how Elena can save her new client, the architecture office, to serve customers faster and double down on the interest with a custom chatbot on their website that books in demos right away. Now, let's have a look at a personalized outreach campaign that Elena wants to create that resonates with her audience. We know that the more tailored the message, the bigger the conversion. So here we will do 3 things. We will scrape some LinkedIn profiles with a Chrome extension called Bardeen. Then we will get this data into Google Sheets, where we will craft a prompt that is optimized for this use case called role task format. And then ultimately we can use these messages to message all of our prospects. So here, this is how it will look like. Imagine we have these people here that we scrape from LinkedIn. And this is how the output messages will look like. Okay? In this case, this is a scenario in which, so let's say that in this case, I'm somebody that was new to Barcelona, that came here recently and wants to make some contacts. So I would write, hey, I saw that you're a founder in tech in Barcelona. I work in generative AI, moved here summer of last year. I'm looking to connect with interesting people in tech. I noticed you've built over 100 projects with your proprietary technology, which caught my attention, right? So this is data that is unique to each profile, right? If we look at the next profile, it's the same text, like, hi, I saw your, again, a different title in a different industry. Then I work in generative AI, which doesn't change, right? Which is my background. And then again, I noticed you describe yourself as a positive thinker and networker, which caught my attention. Again, very different from the previous message where I said you built over 100 projects, okay? Let's see, how do we get there? First, how do we get these contacts into Google Sheets?
There you put your profile, your LinkedIn profile, and you say, please personalize messages for all my contacts.
Yes, I will show you how to do it.
You need to have them as a contact.
Yeah. What do you mean you need to have them as a contact?
Like LinkedIn, they have to be your friends.
In order to message them, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in order to do this exercise also, and for the
No.
AI to
Not really. You just need to, like, as
put them there.
exactly, I will show you now. So let's say this is LinkedIn, and let's say I'm looking for CEOs or COO or founder. And here I have these filters. I go to people, and then here I go to locations and I specify Barcelona. So again, the more targeted your search, the better. All right. And then I have these filters where I go to all filters. So let's say I just go with tech. I go to services. I go actually to industry and I select technology and information. And we will just stay with these filters for simplicity. All right, so now I have around 9,900 results. Obviously, if I put in more filters, like what do they do, consulting, or what type of services, it will narrow it down to maybe a couple of hundred, all right? Now, there is an extension called Bardeen, which you can download from the extension Chrome store. There will be a link in this document, and you can download this document later on via QR code. So all the links I share here will be available to you. So there will be a link to Bardeen directly. So this is Bardeen, and the home screen looks like this. Now, it has a lot of pre-built automations. Now, I go here to Explore, which is this screen, and I search for LinkedIn, search Google, right? So it will show me a few automations that are pre-built. So there's many of them. You can also integrate it with all different kinds of tools, Airtable as well, Gmail, whatnot. For this demo, we will use a pre-built flow that's called Export LinkedIn Search Results to Google Sheet. So I click this, and it looks like Zapier. So I have these steps that it goes through. I can also configure them, but for this step, it serves what we want to do. So it will extract the data from a LinkedIn people search page, like we saw just now. Then it will go to each profile, extract the data from there, and then it will put it into Google Sheets. All right. Now I click test here. And now it asks me how many results do I want. So for simplicity, we say 3. Now what it does now, it opens a new tab, and it actually emulates the steps that I would do by hand and copies the data of each profile into Google Sheets. So it's not a background service, although you can configure Bardeen to act in the cloud. It has a service like that as well. But the simplest use case is just you have LinkedIn open and it just does the operations on your behalf, right? Which speeds you up maybe, I don't know, 100 times. If you were to scrape 500 people, think about how much time you would need to copy paste all that data, all right? Good. Now it has scraped the information, and now it asks me for a document in my Google Drive. So I have already made the document called Masterclass Demo. Now it shows me how to map the columns between the fields it has scraped and the spreadsheet, which looks good. I will just keep the standard ones. And now it's done. So now I can click View. And this is the data that it has scraped. So here I have already added a new column before for the intro message, but the rest was scraped freshly just now. Good. So now I have the most important information. Okay, now how do I craft the message? Let's have a look at a prompt of how to craft it first, and then I will show you how to integrate it. So we will have this prompt. Ignore the beginning. We will get to this in a second. It starts here, lead profile data. Name, then it will be a cell inside the spreadsheet. LinkedIn headline, again a cell, current role, current company, about section. All of these are cells. And I use the concatenate formula, which just puts pieces of text next to each other. So at the end, the prompt will have the proper information. And I start with your role. This format is called role task format prompting. So first I specify what the LLM will do. So you're a cold outreach copywriter specializing in writing first contact messages on LinkedIn, and so on. Then I give it a task, your task. You'll draft a friendly introduction message that adheres to the format I've specified below. And then the output format, okay? So here is the output format that has to adhere to this template. This is the important part. Previously, we saw that the message was more or less the same, but it differed in certain key points. So in this case, I specify the fields that I want to be taken from the profile in brackets. So hey, name, so that you're A, and now I want something about their title that sounds very organic. So I say, condense their role in a single word, because maybe their role is very long. And we know that you get extra LinkedIn bonus points the longer your title is, right? So many people score very high on the LinkedIn, let's say authority score, because their title doesn't fit in my whole laptop screen, okay? So very often if we copy the title directly, if we would just to get it from a database like very mechanically, it looks mechanical because nobody says, hey Elena, so that you're a head of marketing, copywriting, and special certified, 5 more words, blah, blah, at company OpenAI, right? It looks mechanical. And then I want to know their industry also in a single word. So then I say, condense their industry into a single expressive and compelling word. And then the best part is here. I noticed you, and now I want something impressive from that profile. I want something that stands out, something that they are proud of. And this is where somebody like Elena, our marketer from earlier, spends the most time on. She needs to read through 500 about sections that are 2 pages long. Because again, don't forget, your LinkedIn score is higher the longer your about section is. Most people would love to fill their whole biography into their like a book, but they cannot. But you know what I mean. So here the prompt is like this: insert something interesting, impressive accomplishment, unusual character trait, or a special thing from their profile description that stands out in a few words, keeping the flow. All right, good. This is the prompt. Now we copy it. I know it's long. You will have access to it. You will have access to this spreadsheet. I come here.
I missed a beat. This prompt is written by you or by Bardeen?
It's written by me.
Okay.
Bardeen, it takes care of the first part to get the data into Google Sheets. Once that's done, I can do whatever I want with the data. You can also have your own sheet. Maybe you have a lead list from somewhere that has already the data inside. Then perfect. You just put it in here and you run what I'm going to show you now. There is another integration. Now this is an extension inside Google Docs. So if you go to extension and add-ons, it has an own store with extensions. And here you search for GPT for Sheets. Again, you will have access to this. So it's this extension here. And it will put a new menu here, GPT for Sheets and Docs. And most importantly, it has this formula that is equals GPT. So this is a new formula that it introduces to your sheets. So this means that the content of this, whatever is inside, gets sent to ChatGPT as if I copy-pasted it by hand and gets the result back into the cell. So It's like an Excel formula, yeah. So here, we have just copied the prompt that we saw earlier. And now we have to make sure that these cells are correct. So the name, here I will remove and I will click this cell. Then the LinkedIn headline is this cell. Then the current role is this one. The current company is this one. Oops, too quick there. The current company is this one, yeah. No, current company is here. And the about section is here. Okay, so again, here we have concatenate. It means everything inside here, it will put into one big text. And then that text we will send to GPT with the formula. All right, so imagine this is one long prompt with all their details and then the instruction to draft this message. It's nothing else. It's just that simple. Now it loads, and here we have the message. And now the beauty of Sheets is that I have this little dot here, and we all know what this little dot does. It does magic. So I just drag it over the other two cells. And if I had 500 cells, I could drag it over 500 cells. So it just creates messages in bulk, right? And again, the practicality of this is that through the formula system, I can have any text inside. So I can make this as complex or as simple as I want. Maybe I have the whole chat history. This one needs to reload. Maybe I have the whole chat history with a person. Maybe I have their whole, I think there's a bit of overload here because it's a peak time in the US for ChatGPT. So let's just change one space here to refresh the formula. And now the key point here is never send these messages out blindly. Never. And probably you see why. It says, cheers your name. And the second one says, cheers Robert, and the other one as well. Because this is a hallucination right here. This is a hallucination. Because if we look at the prompt, I didn't say your name there. Here I said Robert, you see? So obviously there's an error in the, so there's an hallucination here, okay? The point here being, not only this might be, also I have to copy paste this to show only the values, so because otherwise it would show the formula. So here I would come in and I would correct this. So this is the part where the human comes in. The human always has to verify, right? And maybe there's also some weird stuff here that maybe doesn't sound natural. So always before sending them out, always read them. But reading it is 100 times faster and consumes 100 times less calories. I know we don't like things that consume few calories. We want stuff that consumes lots of calories. That's why we go to the gym or sports. But in this case, for our brain, we want to consume little calories because there's other stuff we need to consume the calories on. So just reading is 100 times, I'm just inventing numbers here, but you know how hard it is to come up with a message and read all that stuff and so on. I mean, read the content of the profile. Here I just have to supervise. It's 100 times more efficient. All right, do we have any questions so far? I got it from the internet.
You knew there was a submarine.
Could this LinkedIn thing, like, could you use it for like other platforms too? Like, or is it just like strictly for like LinkedIn?
It's for any website.
Yeah, okay. So like I could go like to Facebook too and like
Yeah.
same thing.
Everything, because the beauty is that even if the site that you try to scrape requires a login, because this tool just copies your manual steps, so to speak, you can bypass it, you know, because it's already open in your browser. So everything that's open in your browser can be scraped, right? Whereas if you had other tools that scraped it via a cloud service or so on, there are tools, but you need to be more technical there. You need to basically code it to use the same cookie and so on to bypass the authentication. But the beauty with this tool is that it already works on the.
And then once you have the message, the tool also sends it out. So
Or like you have to like copy paste it to it?
You have to copy paste it, but I'm sure there are tools like I think LinkedIn Helper or something where you can load messages into it. Yeah. So I found that, I mean, it depends on how many, like the scale, you know. I don't know what because there's a natural limit, or not natural, like there's a limit on LinkedIn how many message requests you can send. I think it's like,
Yes, and then the filter you did in LinkedIn is because you have the pro version, right?
no, these filters were with the free version. It is insane how much you can achieve on LinkedIn with the free version. So I've been trying this approach. I just cold connect people, and then I send them this message, and 62% answer.
Wow.
It's like crazy. Yeah. Anyways, let's continue, and we will talk a bit more in the Q&A at the end. So Elena also wants to write blogs, as we saw. And let's see how can she achieve 80% time savings on drafting the blog articles. And we will have a look at how to go through keyword research, then specifying the tone and length of the blog post, and then adding extra SEO features into it, such as internal linking and other best practices. This is the tool we will have a look at. It's called Hyper SEO. And these are some articles I've generated with it for my own website. For example, let's have a look at the article that's called How to Create an AI Chatbot for Free. This tool has generated a nice picture. It has created a nice outline of what I want to talk about. And it has also included the keywords that are marked in bold text. And at the end, it has included a very nice frequently asked questions. And also, if we see, it has linked to my internal sites here, like for example, AI processes, or services and other articles. Let's see, how do we use it? It's super easy. We go to article generator, and let's say we want to write about, in this case, AI services for architecture. All right, we want to help Elena in this case, who has this client doing architecture. So we can either start with putting a keyword or so we can either search for our keywords in our website, but in this case, we know what we want. We want a specific keyword. So we go with how to use AI in architecture. And then I click research. It starts it automatically, and it pulls in the Google search suggestions. So it's connected to Google search. So this way we know which searches are the most relevant, so we can target the right keywords. So for example, here we have how to use, let's say, architecture marketing. Is there something around this? Yes, there is a keyword, how to use artificial intelligence in marketing, but I want architecture. Let's say architecture promotion. So we see that here we can ideate with it, and apparently there is nothing interesting there.
You only see the keyword. You don't see a volume or the difficulty of the keyword.
Here, no. But you could go to Google Keyword Planner, get it, and input it here. This is for quick ideation. Let's say something else. Let's just stick with how to use AI in architecture design, all right? Okay, this is the keyword it will use. And now I can select language, tone, and length, which looks pretty good. Neutral tone, medium length. Let's say the tone is opinionated for for this demo. And then I can select different SEO features. For example, I want a table of contents. Yes. I want internal links. Yes. And then here, I can specify the sitemap of my page. So this is the index of all the pages, including my blog and so on. And it will allow me here, if I click search, to choose the articles it should link to. So in this case, let's say I want to go with construction site monitoring, which this is from my website, which is an old project I did. And then let's say we go with AI operations, just 2 articles to keep it simple. So I've chosen them. They are included here. Add any product info. We can add different things that are not on our page and so on. Okay, looks good. And now I can click edit outline. So I can have a look at how the final art, like the outline would look like, and I can remove or add parts. So understand AI's role in architecture, tools, and looks pretty good. Let's go with this. And I click generate article. So now it's loading. And the beauty here is that it helps me a lot with drafting. It helps me with the first version that then I can still modify, and it takes a lot of heavy lifting from my shoulders. All right, here we go. So here's the article. I can click see full article. It also generated a very nice picture. We know that architects like stylish pictures. So it really hit a nerve here. And then this is the article, and we can have a look. And it also included keywords from my articles that I linked, right? So for example, construction process, better resource allocation. And it included the main keyword in the H1 heading, which is the most important, which is the title, which is good. And then also in 1H2 heading, which is this section. All right. So this looks pretty good from an SEO perspective. And then it also linked here, for example, to the pages I specified via my sitemap. So basically, I'm pretty well. I'm set. It has also a pre-published checklist that points that I need to take care of before I publish. Very good, so that I don't forget anything. And then ultimately, I can click publish, and I can copy it into my content management system either via text, HTML Markdown, or connect with Webflow.
You can also add concepts to be developed, like ideas, like talk about these 3 ideas with these 3 keywords.
You mean to prompt it?
Okay.
I'm trying to understand the question. Are you asking?
Well, in this, I want to talk about this in this specific tone. I don't know, or these topics. Can you put it also there?
You mean to add them in addition to it, right? Yeah. So you have,
like, not so generic.
Yeah. So when you go to the article generator, we saw earlier, you have the possibility here at the outline. I mean, now I won't go through it again, but when you see the outline, you can add specific topics as headings, and then it will generate text for that. So it supports it as well.
And once you have the output, like, can you say like a certain section that you didn't like? You're like, hey, like change this part of the article, like things like that.
Yeah, you can also remove. So everything is here in the outline. When you click edit outline, you will see this happens before you generate it.
Okay.
So it will generate it based on the outline. So then you can specify everything you want there, and then it will do those. It will generate it based on that. So let's say you don't like a section, you just remove it, and it won't write about it. And then at the end, you have the full article that you can still copy paste, and you can still remove stuff now and not publish them. So this can be seen as a draft. It's a bit like the messages we saw earlier. Never publish stuff blindly from ChatGPT, because it can hallucinate, and it's not the right thing. Now, Elena is also a member of the Make Work Obsolete community. There she learns about prompting techniques, tools, integrations, and all other generative AI topics. And there she receives expert guidance, and she has built her first AI automation without breaking the bank. She pays $69 a month, and she has access to a full generative AI course curriculum, weekly Q&A calls with tech experts, and a community chat with other members inside where she can exchange ideas about generative AI in marketing and see some real use cases that others have used. Also, all other topics that we couldn't cover today, such as browser extensions that integrate directly with every web page. We have end-to-end automations and also a resource vault with tool access, where we have tools from all domains, video generation, AI agents, marketing, and more. So if you're curious, you can do as Elena did, try it for free for 7 days. By the way, she stayed. And if you use this code, you will have 30% off for life. Elena didn't have this because she didn't attend this nice masterclass. This is the course part of the Make Work Obsolete community, where we go into Gen AI intro and fundamentals, where we have some prompting techniques here that we go through. So we have all of these. You see, it's also funny, you know. So we have basically prompting techniques deep dive. Then we have this vault where we have all these tools based on categories, right? Tools for automation, chatbots for text, voice, real-time capabilities, video generation, coding. So we cover quite a broad range of topics. All right. Now, Elena also wanted to create ads for her client. And the point here is that she works with an e-commerce store that has many reviews. And traditionally, she had to go through these reviews step by step to extract the keywords. And because the company wanted to target the same type of customers. Now, Elena used an internal tool that we've built for her, which is called Next Posts, where you can import a CSV file. It extracts the keyword suggestions, and then you can target those you want to build ads for. And ultimately, you will get these ads. Let's have a look at how this looks like. First, I will show you how such a CSV file might look like. So this is a sample file for a supplement store. And these are customer reviews. We have a few here to make it quick. It can be in the hundreds, right? And you can see, for example, they also have the product names in them, right? For example, Candy Ice Blast and so on. Now we go to the platform and we upload it here. And what it does in the first step, it will ask AI, what are good keyword candidates here? Okay. It's a bit multilingual because Elena speaks multiple languages. But the idea here is that once it has the keywords, candidates, you can choose the ones you want to target, and then it fetches their traffic in real time from Google. And this is something that we had a question about this earlier in the blog posts. And in this case, it extracts the topics. It has found 5 topics. fitness supplements, pre-workout, and so on. And then it goes through each topic and shows keyword candidates. All right. Now, these are not, so let's say, real keywords because they are suggestions by the AI. But now we will go and get real keywords here, and we create a keyword base. It means like keywords from the real keywords. Let's say we want to go with applied nutrition, great deals, fast delivery nutrition. I think it's enough for the demo. And we say create. And now it tries to match these on Google. And it tries to get them from Google Keyword Planner. Yes. And now the point here is, I will jump a bit ahead because I have already done this this preparation to speed it up a little bit. So here we have a keyword base that was already prepared. So this is how it looks like. It fetches long tail keywords, for example, how to retain athletic ability and so on, and then also short tail keywords where I can really see the traffic. And then at the end, I can say new ad group, and I can select those that really stood out. And I can see, for example, Tasty Garden, and obviously these are very generic ones, but I want something like how to regain athletic ability. And I click create, and now based on these keywords, it will give me ready to use ads for Google, Facebook, and Instagram. Right? Now again, this takes a little bit to process. I've already, it's really quick.
The ads are images, videos.
It is text, so copy. And this is still work in progress. So there is a link you can use in the at the end where you can give it a try, and you can request access to the tool. So here I have, for all 3 platforms, I have suggestions. So for example, for Google, it gives me all the important things like the paths, headlines, description, and it sticks to those keywords. So if you want to give this a try, there is a link at the end of the presentation where you can request access. This is an internal tool that we're developing at Next Operations. It's called...
So you made it yourself?
Yes. So we did it for Elena, and so that Elena can use it with her clients. And also, now what you saw now was configured with some prompts that are specific to the brand. So if I go to the prompts here, I can train it with its examples, right? So these are examples of ads they were using already, right? Example 1, example 2, example 3. So again, here we're using this prompting technique called example data instructions, EDI, where again, we start with examples, then with the actual data, and then we have the instructions. We have the instructions, which basically are here in the Facebook ads, and the other one where I say, okay, procedure, how you write it, what the text should include, and so on. Okay, so then the texts are ready to copy and to modify as desired. Good. Any questions so far? All right. So there is one more topic that I will just show you the end result, and then we will jump straight into the Q&A. And it's where Elena helps the building facades architecture studio process requests quicker. Because this architecture studio, it has many requests and many people want a demo. But because it's a small team that's scaling, right? They don't have the manpower to take on all the calls. So we will have a look at a do-it-yourself chatbot that you can train from your website URL. So it gets all the content from there. It can answer the questions based on your website. We will use a tool called VoiceFlow that at the end just gives you a HTML code that you copy on your website, be it WordPress, be it other hosting providers, and it then just works. And we will see how it can gather the visitor data and book directly into your Airtable. This is how it will look like. So this is the Airtable. It's a very simple table, okay? You can connect it with your CRM. This is just for demo purposes. It gets the first name, last name, the demo service, and what it should do. And this is how it works.
So in this case, they are already clients, right?
In this case, they are interested in seeing a demo. Prospects. And then your team can come here and say, okay, I move from to do into in progress, for example. And this is how the chatbot responds. So in this case, it's a chatbot that has been trained with the sitemap of Next Operations website. So it starts, hi there, I'm your new AI agent. Let me know how I can help you. All right, so I'd like to know what kind of services you offer. Give me a bullet list with one sentence per point. And now it looks at the content that I have trained it with, which you see here in the background. So it went through my whole website and got all the subpages, and then it uses it as a knowledge base, as like training the system. So then it responded here as I expected. And it says, okay, sure, here's a concise list of the services offered at Next Operations: AI consulting, process automation, costume AI solutions, training, and blah, blah, blah. Do you have any more questions? Feel free to ask. And then I say, that's okay. Can I book a demo with you? Okay, good. Now it's so I want to book a demo, and it asks me, please let us know your full name, email address, and demo service to book in for a demo. And then let's say my name is, let's invent a name, Robert ABCD. Name. No, ABCD doesn't work. Johnson, because it needs to recognize it. Then the email address, robjohnson at Mailinator. You're using it as well, huh? Love it. And what else? And the service you want to, okay, service would be, yeah, training and workshops. Okay, so now it tries to, are you sure you want to book a demo with our team? Let me know. Let's see, this is one thing that, this is one thing. Now, indeed, you will see that there was one little connection that I forgot here. And this way you can see how it works internally. So there is this workflow, book a demo, which means it's like Zapier. Most of these tools work like Zapier. So when it goes in book a demo, it has this box here which says ask for personal info. Please let us know your name. Then it gets these things, and then it does a request to the API, which is Airtable's API, which is basically this table that we saw earlier: first name, last name, email, demo service, which is this one. First name, last name, demo service, email, which is pretty nice. I can connect anything here. So if we go back here, there is this thing that I can try out. right here, and it will show me the output. So I can see basically which connection I forgot. So I can say Robert Johnson, rob@mail.com, and training services. So now it will process it and it will show me, okay, it understood here extracted entities. So with the AI, it can extract these entities, successfully fulfilled, API call triggered, session ended, perfect. So if we look back at the table, it's here. Robert Johnson Training Services, rob@mail.com. And now my team can click here and say, okay, I'm on it, in progress. I can message them, ask them for a time, and so on. And path not connected, it means that here I have to put an exit scenario, which I forgot earlier, which I have to say, okay, talk, message, then I say enter a message. And the message here is thanks for your time. So now if I go back to the full demo, now it should be fixed and get me a demo. rob@mail.com, training services. Yes, it's true. There's no last name. Let's see what it does. Ah, yeah. Could you please provide your last name? Yeah. Good. So you see that with this AI, these chatbots get very advanced so that they can actually reason, you know. So this is the power. Okay, it says this chat has ended. Okay, there's a second one. Okay, perfect. So you see that once I did this connection, it understood it, and yeah, it booked it. So now, any questions? I will just jump straight into one last thing, and then we go into the Q&A, which is a very important question that many people ask themselves, including Elena. And she has had some experience with AI over the past years, and she tried it in marketing, and she tried it and failed and succeeded. And these are some general tips that she found out when to use AI. And some general cases are when you need quantity. So when you need to generate a lot of ideas and find the best one out of them. For example, if you ideate about a marketing strategy. Another point is the work where you're an expert in and you can assess quickly if the AI is good or bad. So for example, if it hallucinates, right? We saw this with the personalized messages and the blogs. If you're not an expert in the field, let's say you write about chemical substances, don't trust AI there. Work with an expert. Another point is summarizing large amounts of information, and where you're not expected to have detailed knowledge of the underlying information. Usually, summarization is better than generation because it has fewer hallucinations. Also, if you want to transform a piece of content into different formats, where there's no new information, just the format changes. For example, if you want to decrease or increase the amount of text, right? Maybe in some text boxes you have 150 characters, in others you have 1,000 characters. This is a good use case. Also, overcoming writer's block, work that keeps you moving forward. For example, give me 30 distinct ways to end this sentence, or to start this sentence, or to start a paragraph. When you need variance and need to select the best answer, rewrite the paragraph in 10 different ways. And ultimately, when you need an opinion from different reader personas, for example, a hostile reader, a friendly reader, a naive reader, and so on, you can even combine this with fictional personas, or even with people from the past, like a famous writer or somebody that might give you a good advice if they were still alive. And when not to use AI, this is an interesting one. When you try to learn and synthesize new information, AI can't learn for you, and you need to actively engage with the content to actually understand it. And I think many who are students during this time, maybe they are using it a bit too much. We saw lots of conversation about this from schools, from universities. I think society still has a bit, it still needs to really understand what an impact AI has. Then high accuracy tasks. So these are tasks that are very exact. For example, you work with product codes and you say you have a list of 100 product codes and you want to transform them in a different format. It's very easy for the AI to get something wrong in the code. So this is where hallucinations cost you a lot, because then the target system cannot understand those product codes anymore. Or for example, how many R's are there in strawberry? And it will say 2 or 4 or 5, it will never say 3. And this goes hand in hand with understanding its limits, especially high-level hallucinations where the AI tries to persuade you of an idea that is not true, right? And this is very difficult to spot. And ultimately, when you're doing research, when the effort is part of the journey, where you have to think through a problem very, very, very often, strategic or scientific problems, and where you only get this aha moment if you do the work yourself. Now, thank you for listening. And this is the end of the presentation. We will go into the Q&A. You can download the complete document here. It has the links on the last slide. There is a small feedback form that I would be very thankful if you could fill in. And once it's filled in, you will get a link straight into your email inbox where you can have access to this complete document with all the links, all the prompts, all the spreadsheets we saw, Airtable, and the workflow for the AI chatbot. Everything we discussed today is at the end of this document. It looks like this. So you basically have everything here, and you can scan it here. All right, questions, ideas, thoughts, open Q&A. Yes, please.
Question. So I've noticed in the last few years that with ChatGPT it seems to have gotten worse and better at the same time.
Okay.
I feel now whenever I'm putting something in, and especially when it comes to product description, before it seemed to be gathering, I don't know if this is true, gathering as much information from the internet as it could before, and kind of just putting it in a condensed version.
Mm-hmm.
And now with certain questions, it won't even answer it. It just comes back with consult a professional.
It comes up with what?
Consult a professional.
Okay.
And I'll be asking for just something simple, what is this skincare ingredient, and how can I advertise it for my product, because this skincare this ingredient is in the product, and it'll be consult a professional. It won't even take the fact that I just said this is literally my product, this is something that I've already made, and I want you to write a description on this. It literally says consult a professional.
Consult a professional.
Mm-hmm. How can I prevent that?
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of it, I think, comes from the fact that maybe people have asked for medical advice, and obviously, if it hallucinates, you shouldn't take it seriously. So I think it's more of the decision of the developers of OpenAI to say, let's make it safer, and maybe even though this is I would say a less dangerous case, as if you ask it for a health issue, it might have still slipped through the cracks and went into this category of health advice. And then maybe it's trained in such a way that they say, okay, for any health advice, just say consult a professional. What you could do, try, I would say, a different model. Try Claude, for example. Claude, Claude. It's a pretty good model. It has reached the same, let's say, power as ChatGPT 4. So these models, they are kind of named by generation. So we had generation 1 models, which were ChatGPT 3.5 and similar in intelligence. And then generation 2, which is ChatGPT 4. And the latest Claude has reached generation 2 capabilities. But for a very long time, ChatGPT 4 was the only one. It was the front runner. But these other models have caught up, and then there's others you can use. So I would use this, for example, a Claude, and I would also try, for example, Google's Gemini, which is also a competitor, and try.
Perplexity help in this too?
It could. Perplexity is more tuned towards research, towards you want to know something about a certain topic, then it searches the internet and it gets up-to-date information. If you want to generate new stuff, you could use Perplexity. I don't know if their base model behind the search engine is as powerful as these generation 2 models. Right. And then try to search for something like open source models and try to go with that. Welcome.
Do you have any experience of like creating content or like say like blog posts and things like that from an image? Like say so I give it like an image and then it then describes it back to me and then like creating content. Like do you have like any strategies for that?
I would do the following. I would upload an image. I would first go with ChatGPT, upload the image, and say, what do you see in this image? And then it says what it sees in that image. And then once it's written, remember that everything that you see in the chat is already part of the context. So then you can go straight away and say, take the information that you just described and write a blog post that does this and this and this. So you would go with different prompts. You would continue giving it more and more and more prompts. This is actually a technique in itself. It's called chain of thought prompting. You can Google that, where you start with simple prompts, very broad ones, and then you narrow down more and more and more and more until you get to where you want. So the first step would be describe the image, which is very broad, and you would say, okay, focus on this aspect, and then do this, and then do this. You direct it.
Yeah. And I have another question. So based on this like chain of thought thing, so like say obviously like ChatGPT like has like your entire history like how you were saying, like do you think it's like a better strategy say that we create like a different email to like have like fresh information versus having like a full history of like what we've done in the past, right? So like say like I wanted to generate like new content and it has like all this like best data set that I've asked in the past versus like something completely new.
Well, it depends on the purpose. So what are you trying to achieve with this?
I'm just thinking of like, say like, splitting it between like how I use it for like my job versus like my company. So like, so I work for like a toy company, and then like on the side like I have like my own Etsy store. So I'm just thinking of like if it like it might get confused or like might use like information that I'm using from like one side in the other.
I see. So you're using both under the same account.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if you want, there is a feature that allows you to turn off the memory usage for the chat. You find it if you go to ChatGPT. I'll show you. If you go here in the settings, where is it? Here. There's somewhere where you can customize ChatGPT. I think it's this. No, this was a different thing. This is a bit older. Costume instructions. It has somewhere you can say disable memory. Yeah, good point. Let's see. Yeah, temporary doesn't save the chat, but it will still access the memory. You have to Google this. So I saw this, but look at disable memory, and you should be good to go. Any other thoughts, questions?
And for the first QR code that you sent us, that you're able to like access like that database. So that's all for like different ways that you can just like to understand like, so it's like different ways that you can use like prompting for like marketing based on like your basic on all these different prompts that you've had in the past.
Yes. Yes, and it's also about prompting techniques. For example, a chain of thought is one of them, or a role task format is one of them. Usually, people when they start working with prompting, they tend to write very short prompts. From my experience, they say something very short, like "do this" in one sentence, and then the output is very generic. It's not really what you wanted. And the more you describe what you want, the more you narrow down the options. It's basically all about narrowing down the options. And this is where researchers have found that certain ways to write your prompts lead to better results. And then if you clearly split it and say role task format, you can clearly think about what's the role of this system, right? Is it a marketer? Is it a copywriter? Is it a doctor? Is it obviously the one with the doctor, as we saw, is a bit, tricky, but anything you can imagine. You can even give it fictional personas or even real personas or people that from the past. Like imagine you're King Louis the 16th, whatever. And like you can play around with these things, and then then you give it a task. You do this, and then the format, you can say, write it short, long, this tone, that tone. Give me a table, give me a bullet list, give me a table and a bullet list, and then you can combine this even with other prompting techniques. You can use it for every follow-up prompt. You can say then, once it has outputted, you say next task, this output format, and this. You can be very, very verbose, and then you will get really good results.
I like that. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please.
I have some notes about specifically, for example, I don't have SEMrush, that is the tool for keywords, because it's very expensive. But can I rely on ChatGPT to really see trends and all this stuff? I mean, they connect each other. I'm using this example, but yeah, it should apply to other tools that are like business intelligence that give numeric answers. Can I trust ChatGPT in this aspect, or?
No. No. So for two reasons. First, the database of SEMrush is, let's put it this way, there is a reason why it's so expensive. It's because the data is not available for free, which means it's under a login, so to speak. So you have to be logged in to see it, which means that ChatGPT cannot access it. So it is by design to not be accessible. And the second would be, even if it were accessible, ChatGPT struggles with these exact numbers. So previously I said, like, if you give it a product code or a number, or the more stuff it is in there, like the more numbers, like the most easy example is you give it a list of 100 numbers and say, give me this list, like reproduce it exactly. It is not able to, because the way it just works via probabilities, as we saw. So probabilities are not exact. If you run that prompt twice, it will give you two different responses. All right, so I think time-wise, we could squeeze one more question in. Otherwise, we can go out and enjoy the sun. All right, thank you for your time. Thank you for these interesting, thought-provoking questions. And yeah, I'm looking forward to chat with you now after the talk. And thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you.